costume party there. Aren't they lovely? Well, we decided it might be fun to throw our own Fox News contributor, Raymond Arroyo, into the mix and ask these folks what they really are so peeved about. Raymond, what did you find
Thanks
out?
for throwing me into the mix.
Yeah.
This D.C. protest was purportedly to urge the release of the unredacted Mueller report. Well, it was a collection of mostly aged, partisan government worker types. At times it felt like they were going through the motion. Look at the poor people. Like they were going through the motions, but we actually had some interesting conversations. Watch, Laura.
We're not convicting people in a criminal court of law. We're investigating. And
the investigation's complete, though. You're making it sound like the investigation's not complete. Is it? Is the investigation complete?
What's going on here is completely absurd just on the public evidence. The public evidence.
So he's guilty of criminal collusion with Russia and obstruction of justice?
We deserve a right to see what's going on. There's 2 years of investigation and nothing is coming out.
It is coming out. Bill Barr just gave you a summary.
Bill Barr did not give anything out.
Tell me why you're here today.
I think that it is incredibly important for our government to be as to share what they know with us and share all the information that they have. And I think that refusing to release the report to the people goes directly against democracy.
Your thoughts on this economy and what Trump has done to the economy?
I mean, I honestly haven't been paying that much attention to the economy. It's like I don't know. I'm a college student, so I don't know fully what is I don't have a full understanding of the economy right now. So yeah.
You know, you have seen as well as I have the things that the president has done with your own eyes. I mean, we don't have to say, oh my gosh, I need to see the report to know that there has been things which are not appropriate for a president to do. We have children in cages. We have help me out here. We have children in cages. We have disregard for the law in many circumstances.
So you believe Bill Barr is in collusion with Trump to cover up this investigation?
Well, he's handpicked by Trump, and he's not, he's not just not doing what he should be doing to get the information out to the people.
Tell me why you're here today.
To get the full Mueller report released.
What do you mean by the full Mueller report?
The full 400 pages that Mueller wrote, the unredacted, and all the backup material.
You want unredacted?
Unredacted as much as possible.
Yeah, well, it's illegal for him to submit an unredacted report because it's got grand jury testimony in it. You're waiting for Congress to make the ruling here, not Bill Barr or the Department of Justice.
No, I'm waiting for 2020 to vote that son of a out of the goddamn White House.
Charming. there was a lot of anger and hurt, Laura. And I have to tell you, there were people here who, this was their last kind of hope, holding on that they could finally get this president, corner him. And I think when the Barr summary came out and the Mueller findings were in, they were very deflated. So it was a half-hearted protest, I have to tell you.
It looked a little weak.
Some of these poor people, I really feared they were going to fracture hips before the protest was over. It was
like the last
look
time
at that poor man.
The last time they protested, it was like 70.
The Civil War.
70,
I think.
it was like 74, and get the servicemen out of Nam.
Yeah, they're still looking for the Watergate papers. Here, look, the last time I saw a protest this kind of half-hearted, it was Alyssa Milano leading the 30 makeup artists and prop mistresses, in the Georgia State House, which I wrote a piece about on Fox News.
Good.
So you can look that up. But this was a lot of AstroTurf, a lot of anger. But I felt bad for the people. I really did. I did.
You felt bad for the people? What's wrong with you?
When you see people chanting off-key, we're going to get the Mueller report.
Conservatives are good protesters?
But then
the worst.
One man turns to Jessica and I on our way out, and he says, this is why we lose elections. So I felt bad for them.
No, but the left can turn out big protests.
Well,
they had the gun march. They've done big protests.
If this is any indication of 2020,
Kavanaugh protests were big.
If it's any indication of 2020, Trump can start redecorating another part of the White House. He's going to be there for a while longer. This was sad.
I like the student who said, she admitted, well, I'm not really familiar with the economy. I'm a student.
My favorite was a lady who said, help me out. Help me out here.
Help me, honey. What good are you? Standing there like a totem pole. Say something.
Stop sending me into the mouth.
All right. I mean, that was fun.
First Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell joins us once again. He's demanding the unredacted Mueller report. Of course, he sits on the House Judiciary and Intelligence Committees. This is Jim Comey, the former FBI director, talking this afternoon on CNN about the release of the report and the timing of the whole thing. Watch this.
Bill Barr, our Attorney General, deserves the benefit of the doubt. Give him a chance to show us what he feels like he can't show us. I have to imagine that former Director Mueller wrote the report with an eye towards it being public someday, so I can't imagine a lot needs to be cut out of it. But let's wait and see. The Attorney General deserves that chance.
Do you agree with that?
Well, we want to make sure we see the full report as soon as possible. We're going to authorize subpoenas but not issue the subpoena, but Congress voted just a month ago 420-0 in a bipartisan fashion for us to see the full report. Also, the public paid for this investigation. They should see the full report, and the person who believes that he is fully exonerated should fully welcome us seeing the report.
I think, the president has said he wants to see the full report. I think pretty much everybody has said, but I think that the full report definition is different for different people based on the grand jury testimony and, some of the parts of the report that might reflect on people who, do not have there's no reason for them to be sort of put out there publicly by this report. So do you agree with those exemptions?
Yes, if there's no reason for the public to know about someone's cooperation, I agree. But what I don't agree is that the grand jury information should shield important, relevant witnesses from having their information out there.
And who are they? Tell me what would you be disappointed not to get? Who do you want to read more about in terms of the background documents that I know you want?
Every person who met with the Russians at the Trump Tower meeting, every person involved in the Trump Tower Moscow negotiations, any person who knew about the WikiLeaks effort to hack and release the Hillary Clinton emails, and any person who knew about the actions the administration has taken to benefit the Russians.
That's what I thought. So, even though it appears that there was no collusion, according to the summary of the principal conclusions that we got from Mr. Barr, you still think that that's valid ground? Because in the letter he said, it's obvious that there was outreach, but there was no conspiracy and there was no coordination, but that's not enough for you.
No, because that relates to a criminal matter, not national security, counterintelligence matters. We have a responsibility. If we're going to protect the ballot box in 2020 from another attack, the public should know and the nation's leaders should know who worked with the Russians, what the government response was.
The report says that they didn't work with the Russians. That's the point that I'm making.
Well, no, the report, the Barr opinion letter said that it didn't reach the standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Without seeing the full report, I don't know if that's the case or not. But I want relevant information out there for the public. I believe that if there is confidential, personal identifying information about people who had nothing to do with this, we should protect their privacy. We can do that. But first, Congress should see the full report and then make that decision. So,
but then, in the same breath, I know you spoke with Neil Cavuto, and you said you don't have to have the Mueller report to see all the president did do. So do you want the report, and do you need the report, or is the report going to come out, and if it doesn't have the things that you're hoping for, you're going to say, oh, that doesn't matter anyway, because I already know that there was, a lot of egregious behavior here?
Well, there is what we've already seen in public, and we can't, wash that away because the president wasn't criminally indicted. But I imagine that there will be additional information that will guide us as we seek to protect the ballot box. And so I will accept every word, every period, every comma if I'm able to see it, but I'm not going to accept that I can't see it and that the president
And are you
is
okay with him taking the
clear.
time that he needs? He said, for like 15 days from now or less. So I don't know why there's this tomorrow date. It sounds like you're not going to issue subpoenas tomorrow, correct?
We're going to authorize subpoenas tomorrow. We're going to continue to work with them, but the public should see a report that it paid for, and we should know as our nation's leaders what we can do to protect our democracy.
Let me ask you a quick 2020 question before I let you go, because there was a report that you were quoted as having said at an event in San Francisco, don't tell anybody, but I'm announcing in 2 weeks. So are you announcing for the presidency in 2 weeks to run?
I did not say that, but I will tell you I've made a decision. I will announce it soon, and the reason I care so much about what the Russians did is because they didn't do it just to benefit themselves from a transactional relationship with the president. They did it to tear down the idea of America, that no matter who you are, where you're from, what you worship, who you love, you can be anything. And if that can be true in America, it could be true in Russia. They don't want it in Russia. I want to protect it still here in America.
Listen, I think you're going to do well on that, because I think everybody's on the same page. Nobody wants the Russians to be able to influence our election or, to influence anything. And, one of the people who worked at the CIA for 30 years said that the dossier looked like a classic Kremlin disinformation campaign. So I hope you're going to pursue that side of it when you get all the documents as well, correct?
Free markets, free ideas, and a freedom to dream. The Russians don't want us to have that. I want to protect that. I benefited from that.
Okay. So do you want to know if the dossier was a classic Kremlin disinformation campaign?
Of course.
So you'll be digging into that when you get these documents as well, because a lot may come out when all of this comes out that will be of interest to, I think, a lot of people on all sides.
Absolutely, Martha.
All right, Congressman, thank you very much.
My
pleasure.
Good to see you
tonight.
Thank you. You too.
There are reports tonight that some members of the special counsel team investigating alleged Russian collusion during the 2016 election may feel that the Attorney General is not adequately portraying the results of that investigation and the report. The administration is pushing back hard on anonymously sourced stories. This comes as Republican lawmakers are looking into the ethics of the investigation itself. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge has details tonight.
The Justice Department issued a rare public statement taking issue with media accounts that the Mueller report contains summaries that were releasable. Quote, every page of the confidential report provided to Attorney General Barr on March 22, 2019 was marked may contain material protected under a law that protects confidential grand jury information and therefore could not be publicly released. The New York Times first reported some special counsel investigators told associates that their findings are far more negative than Barr's 4-page summary released last month. A senior Democrat said it backs up his efforts to see the full report and secure Mueller's testimony.
There's some dissatisfaction over how accurately Barr represented the report, but again, the answer is, let's see it.
On Twitter, the president knocked the story, writing, the New York Times had no legitimate sources, which would be totally illegal concerning the Mueller report. In fact, they probably had no sources at all. Despite the president's tough talk about what he calls a witch hunt, one of the president's former attorneys told a podcast the president was nothing but cooperative in the Mueller investigation.
All this, what I call mainstream knee-jerk theories, these wild theories, he was really trying to get rid of Bob. That was nonsense.
Separately, these letters obtained by Fox News show Republican Senators Grassley and Graham alerted Barr last month that congressional investigators uncovered evidence of potential improper political influence, misconduct, and mismanagement in the Russia probes. Fox News understands the senators wanted Barr to have the information before he reviewed Mueller's findings, after congressional investigators alleged special counsel prosecutors used selective quotes in court filings to create the most negative interpretation possible. This 2017 letter shows Grassley directly warned Mueller, citing emails from Trump campaign aide George Papadopoulos, among others, about traveling to Russia during the presidential race. Quote, in the full context, the emails in question actually show that the Trump campaign wanted someone low-level to decline these types of invitations.
On the Mueller report's delivery to Congress, there is significant time pressure. At the end of next week, both the House and Senate go on recess. Sources tell Fox News Justice Department officials hope to complete their review in coming days, meeting the Attorney General's goal of mid-April. Brett.
Catherine, thank you.